Welcome back to another episode of Getting Speakers Booked, a podcast by speakers for speakers. This is your one-stop shop for everything advice, speaker related, anything that you need in your speaker toolkit to get on more stages, to get yourself out there, and really, of course, to turn your message into impact. So today I'm really excited to have my guest Namrata with us today. Namrata, thank you so much for the time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Macy. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Of course. Well, so a little bit of background on how we know each other. We met through the Beyond Bold event that just happened here in Tampa, Florida about 2 or 3 weeks ago. It happened in November, right before Thanksgiving. And let me tell you, it was an amazing one-day event in St. Pete, all about women and health and wellness. And it's basically answering all the questions that, especially I'd say, a lot of middle-aged women deal with when it comes to themselves, their mind, their body, their spirit. And for someone who's only 22, it was so informative for me to be there because there are so many questions that I had never even occurred that will pop up in my life. So getting some answers, getting some feedback now on, hey, this is what's going to happen in 20, 30 years. What can I do now? That was something that I got answered a lot as well. And I was very honored. Namrata was an amazing MC. She just carried the entire event. She just did an amazing job of keeping the energy and making sure that we were always awake and energized and ready for the day. And I had the honor, me and my dad had the very, very esteemed honor of speaking for a few minutes on what it means to be a father and daughter in kind of a non-conventional schooling way. So that's enough about that. But Namrata, I mean, there's so many amazing things. So why don't you introduce yourself just a little bit before we kind of get into these questions? Because I think people need to know all the amazing things you've done.
Absolutely, absolutely, Macy. First of all, thank you so much for having me on this podcast, and I'm very, very enamored to hear about that Beyond Bold was such a good experience for you. That's awesome. That's what we are here to create. Now, who am I? So I am a former corporate junkie. I was consultant, management consultant, Wall Street, all of those things, and I'm a midlife woman. And at some point, I woke up and I'm like, what am I doing with my life? I'm not making any impact. And the first thing, I found a therapist, which is I recommend everybody to do. And my therapist, I went to my therapist, she's like, what do you want? And I'm like, hey, I want to make impact. I don't know what that sounds like. I don't know what that means, but I want to make impact. I think I can help people.
Yeah.
And that is where my journey started. So first I cleared my brain. I went on a 2-year travel around the world. I met people, I met humanity where it's at. Outside, I went to almost more than 30 plus countries just in 2 years.
Wow.
And I met a lot of communities, a lot of people, and I realized that a lot of these places where people are falling through the cracks, communities are stepping up to help,
Yeah.
just like Beyond Bold did for you, right?
Yeah.
So communities are stepping up to help. And that is when I realized my purpose is what I do is, and I also realized I was neurodivergent, which is ADHD and probably a little bit autistic. So and it basically made sense for everything that was happening. My burnouts and all of those things started making sense. So
Yeah.
I essentially plugged my skill set and all of those two things together. And what I do is I help neurodivergent founders and leaders sort of grow their impact, in a very sustainable manner and build the communities. So Beyond Bold, Vaishali came to me, Namrata, you're the only one who can help. So in 2 months, essentially what I did was I strategized with her. What are the kind of speakers we want? What is the kind of messaging we want? What's the kind of agenda that will hit people? What is it that we want and what is it that we don't want?
Mm-hmm.
So that she is not burnt out. So
Yeah.
my job, I'm a founder whisperer.
A founder whisperer.
So
That's
that's
beautiful.
how I help through, and I have my own community. It's called the Humanists Collective.
Mm-hmm.
Why the humanists? Human centric. I think the corporate is very system centric, and I am building sort of a foil to the corporate. So I'm a hub for a lot of these different communities around the world.
That's beautiful and that's amazing. There are so many great things that you said that I want to touch upon really quick. Number one is obviously it's huge that your first step was to get a therapist. I think sometimes, and we're both, we're all in the Indian circle. It can be very stigmatized, but I'm very happy to hear that so many people are going out of their way and they're normalizing it or they're talking about it more, and I think that's beautiful. But I loved what you talked about impact, because every time I talk to a speaker, that's their number one concern, and that's what I found a lot when I work with speakers as well. Is I'm like, hey, let's look at your messaging, and they're like, hey, Macy, I want you to know it's not about my words. It's not about me. I know the perfect way. I know the perfect framework. It's what is going to be beneficial to that audience. What are they going to walk away with? How can I help them? And that's what every speaker has always said to me. And that's how I know, like, this is such an amazing community. So I love that that's what yours is too, going along with, you know, the Humanist Collective, going with the human side of it, the relational side of it. And that's really where
The
a lot of our
connection side of
speaking,
it. Yes.
exactly. That's where our speaking comes from. You know, it's coming from that heart-centered place. It's coming from, hey, how do I help? How do I impact? So I think that's so beautiful that you touched upon that. And then finally, the Founder Whisper is great. And you did an amazing job of the event. And I can tell there's a lot that goes into it. Sometimes, you know, first time event planners, they don't know because we don't know until we've done it.
Yes.
You know, how do we choreograph? Who's talking when? Why are they talking now? How can we improve upon it? And I'm sure there are so many things that you and the team, so I know it's you, Vaishali, and
Bio, yes.
Bio.
And a very big volunteer team of ladies,
Yes,
yes.
yes,
Everything from what giveaways, everything was meticulously strategized, not just planned,
absolutely.
strategized.
Yes. And then I'm sure you guys have sat down since the event and gone, hey, this is what I loved. This is what we can improve upon next
Hmm.
year. And I'm sure there were so many things that you guys were like, I didn't even know this was going to be an issue. I didn't even know this was going to happen. But now that we know, here's how we plan. And those are the things that someone like you kind of helps founders and CEOs with, because you're kind of that like shadow in the background, is my understanding
Yes,
of like, hey, this is what could happen. Are we planning for this? Is this the path you want to go on? And if you go on this path, this is what's gonna happen. And that's really what your job is my understanding.
that's correct. So it's two ways, right? So founders, there are founders in my DMs right now who don't even know they're founders
Oh,
because they don't even know. They're like, I want to do something. Namrata, can you? So
right.
I basically go work I have two ways I work with people. I work with them from right the seed idea, I bring it out,
Yeah.
and I essentially help them focus their power because they have neurodivergent
Beautiful.
power. They don't know what they want to start content creation, but they don't know why.
Right.
Right? So you're building from that angle, or somebody like Vaishali comes in like, you know what? I don't know anybody in Tampa, but you know what? I'm going to do an event in Tampa, and that's how. So we will build a community after the event. We had no community before the event.
Yeah.
So there are two ways you can look at it, and both sides require a lot of strategic, conversation, of very, very customized solutions.
Yeah.
And you really need to basically go in the founder's mind and be like, just push through all the nonsense and bring out, hey, you know what? This is your superpower. Did you know that? They're like,
Yes.
what?
Yeah, it's like in a eureka moment, right? And I love to be there because that's very similar to what I do, but I do that with speakers, right? I help them when it comes to maybe clarifying their message or clarifying their product, or like sometimes they don't even realize. They're like, I get so excited, I can do at least these 10 things. I'm like, that's awesome. How do you explain that to someone at a networking event when you have 10 seconds, right? When you
Yes.
have 30 seconds to talk about your business, can you get to those 10? Can you get to even 2? And it's so fulfilling to be able to listen to these amazing ideas, but also being like, hey, there's something here, and then they see it as well. That's what's powerful, is when they see it with you and they're not just like, oh, okay, I believe you. It's like,
Yes.
no, oh my gosh, now that you say that, someone's come up to me once and said that, like those exact words when I talked about this topic, and it's so rewarding to be a part of that conversation with them.
It is very
And
fulfilling. Yes. I sleep very well at night.
right. And knowing that they trust you with something like that, I mean, that's a huge honor. You and I both know that.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely,
That's
absolutely,
a,
and also to add to that point, not just founders. When I say founders, of course, there's founders. My really niche is women founders. Women are juggling so much, and then they have this creative energy inside them, their life force. And I want to, that's what I've been doing with a lot of women. I also run other communities like Athena's Tribe, which is
wow.
find out your inner goddess, or not just goddess, inner power,
Yeah.
inner warrior. And I essentially bring that out through that. So
Yeah.
that's also what I do. So Athena is one of my brands, and the other brand is, of course, the Humanist Collective.
That's
So I
awesome.
essentially help all the people that I'm working with establish that brand.
That's amazing. And that's so wonderful that you're able to do that for people. So I'd love to know, switching gears just a little bit, what is coming up in 2026? What is your next year looking like? What are some of your goals? What are some of the things in place?
Great question. So the first thing is January is completely packed. I am starting with visibility because I like to learn through discomfort, and
Yeah.
I've realized that ADHD brains like me, to get the healthy dopamine, instead of like falling out of the plane, I would rather put myself in rooms where I am absolutely, are not comfortable, and
Uh-huh.
getting myself out of the comfort zone. So
Yeah.
for that, the first appearance is in Dubai, which is a 1 billion follower summit. And I'm hoping to meet people and essentially talk about my community strategy, my community building strategy, and how I can help them.
Hmm.
And then the next move is World Economic Forum. And that's the top, tippity top, right at the Swiss Alps, the nation leaders, all of those people are there. And I think they need to hear that, the people are sick and tired of corporate. People don't trust it. Everybody's burnt out. And how can we help them? And this
Hmm.
is how I have a proven method of working with founders and entrepreneurs to be able to reduce the burnout. So that's what I'm
Wow.
taking. So first is visibility.
Yeah.
And from that, everything that is gets distilled from that is how I start building my pipeline of
Yeah.
work.
Wow, that's amazing, and that's some exciting, exciting stuff coming up for visibility. I know visibility is huge when it comes to what we do and speakers, and just getting yourself out there and putting yourself in rooms where you don't feel comfortable always. That's the best way
Yes.
to grow. I mean, I'm the same way as you. That's the only way I know how to grow, right? Is by falling a few times to get back up, even if I have to hype myself up to fall a little
It's
bit.
like, what's the worst that can happen? Five people will laugh at me.
We live with it, right? We move on to the next thing. We move on to the sixth person, right? What are some of your goals for 2026? What are you looking to accomplish?
So a few goals are definitely some good speaking opportunities where I take my messaging around, community being the growth engine for founders,
Yeah,
being the R&D engine for entrepreneurs, and being the sensory engine where like, feet on the ground for
yeah.
a lot of governments. So that's my
Wow.
one message. My
Yeah.
Vision 2026, I'm packaging it up right now. I have had a couple of lives on my LinkedIn, and I want
Amazing.
to take it to different rooms. My Vision
Hmm.
2026 for founders, enterprises, and governments, those ecosystems. Some of the rooms I don't really know, but I haven't really thought about which rooms, and I'm hoping for the World Economic Forum and those conversations to sort of bring me into those sort of roles.
Yeah.
I love moderating. I would love to moderate some,
Oh, wow.
very impactful panels. Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. So
Those are
panels,
my absolute goals, yes.
beautiful. So panels, some really good speaking opportunity, and it sounds like, women or neurodivergent or anything kind of in that circle are the rooms that you would be in.
Yes, yes.
Okay, that's awesome. So if you're out there, you're listening, and you know a few stages, definitely reach out and contact. So I'd like to end on this note. So number one, of course, thank you so much for the time today. This has been amazing. I just love talking with you. I just feel so energized after I talk to someone like you. That it just lifts me up and lifts my spirits. So I really, really appreciate it. And you just had so many great points for our speakers when it comes to visibility, when it comes to finding ourselves, when it comes to landing on our messages or our ideas. I think you gave some really great advice. So thank you again for the time. I really, really appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
And I think one of the last things I want to just tell the speakers,
Yeah.
whoever's watching in your community, is I have been on certain. I was launching New Voice in Denver this year, and I know I'm going into speakerships. And one of the things I've realized, what lands, is a very very crisp and simple one thing that the audience can take away.
Oh, yeah.
So I remember one thing that there was a neurodivergent. I basically went as how agile works for founders, and the
Mm-hmm.
one thing that I said was I found a container for my chaos, container for the chaos. That's just the sentence that people were clapping. Just one sentence. So
Wow.
have that one sentence that the room is going to write down.
Right. That's perfect. That's the best and greatest way to end the interview. So I appreciate the time. Before we hop off, what is the best way for people to contact you if they're interested in learning more about your services, how to book you, or anything like that?
My LinkedIn is there, and of course my community, nas.io/the humanists. It's a $5 per month community, basically for admin purposes, because you need the minimum amount. But we do a lot of programming on accountability, clarity for founders, and a lot of those things. And LinkedIn is the best way to see what I really do.
Yeah, you have amazing LinkedIn, a lot of great people on there, a lot of great people you connected with. So again, thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun. All of her information will be in the description below. You can click, copy, and paste, whatever makes it easy for you guys. And as always, if you're a speaker, you're interested in learning on how to grow yourself as a speaker, you can join our free Facebook community, the Global Speaker Circle, link in the description. Copy, paste, join. It's completely free to join. Come network with some great speakers. And as always, we have our Friday networking at 10 a.m. Eastern to have some really great curated speed networking and also listen from our speaker for the week. So again, thank you so much to our guest and to everyone watching. We really appreciate you as well. We'll see you next time.
Thank you,
Bye.
Macy. Bye.